Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to Travel and Live Free. In this video, we're going to cover my country number 57, 58, and 59 to visit every single country in the world. And those countries are Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. I decided to clump those three together in this video because I spent the majority of my time in Scandinavia in Denmark. I did go to Sweden and stayed overnight in Stockholm, and I also went to Norway and stayed overnight in Oslo, but the vast majority of my experience was actually in Denmark. During my one-year trip around the world, I met a Danish girl in Medellin in Colombia, and she invited me to come visit her family in Denmark by the time I got to Europe. So, by the time I got to Europe during my one-year trip around the world, and I was now going to Denmark next, my friend Signe invited me to come stay in her family's farm. I then took a train from Berlin all the way to Denmark, and from there my friend Signe picked me up from the train station and drove me to her family's house. They had a trailer for me to sleep in, which was super cool because I've never stayed in a trailer before in Europe, so I thought this was going to be a very interesting experience. The only thing creepy about it was that the trailer was full of spiders. Otherwise, it was a very fascinating experience. Signe's family had a lot of horses in their farm, so I got a chance to look at the horses that they were taking care of, and I also got a chance to prepare them a home-cooked meal from the Philippines, and they really enjoyed it because when will they get a chance to eat food from another country while staying in this small town in Denmark? The next day, my friend Signe actually works in this place called the Gorilla Park, which is a treetop adventure park in the city that they lived in, which is called Svendborg, and we went there and we did the treetop adventure. It was pretty fun, but also hard at the same time.
Go. Jump on it. Yeah, like this. That's crazy.
I do recall one moment where I had to swing like a Tarzan across this park onto this like big rope net thing that's against the trees. And I was freaked out. I screamed at the top of my lungs and the Danish people were laughing at me.
Yes, you can do it. That's perfect.
It's so scary.
This is so cool. It's so cool. Yeah, I hurt my arm. Hopefully nothing really bad. I don't know how about the video, God. I was focusing on you. Yeah.
Never doing that again.
Seriously?
I mean, I'm okay, but
Yeah.
shit. It's like heart attack.
Does it take sound? How are you?
Yeah, that sounds good. Now you hear me screaming.
Yeah.
I stayed in Denmark for a total of 3 days before taking the train going to my next destination, which is Stockholm in Sweden. Now, the hostel I stayed in Sweden was a little bit unfriendly. There was two people working in the front desk, and one of the girls working in the front desk was pretty stuck up. So I didn't like the vibe already entering into Sweden. By the time I got into my dorm room, there was a Norwegian guy in the dorm that was talking shit about the Chinese guy that was staying in the dorm with us. So there's a guy in the dorm room that's from China, and he doesn't speak any English or not much English at all. And for some weird reason, in this hostel, you have to pay extra for the sheet on the bed. So this Norwegian guy was complaining that this Chinese guy had no sheet on his bed and he's sleeping on this like weird surface. Now, I don't like the racism that I'm experiencing in Europe, so I actually told the Norwegian guy, hey, you know what? I just don't think he knows that you're supposed to get a sheet. I don't think he's being disrespectful to anyone on purpose. So when a Chinese guy came in, I told him in English because I don't speak Chinese even though I'm Chinese. I told him, hey man, you gotta get a sheet, otherwise you're being disrespectful. So quickly he went to the front desk, got himself a sheet, and he used it on the bed. And the Norwegian guy was shocked when this all happened. And I said to him, yeah man, you can't be making assumptions on why they're doing what they're doing. They just don't know. Anyways, I'm not liking Sweden already at this point. I know everyone can have a good day and a bad day in a country, but overall, Sweden is just not a country for me. So after finishing up with Sweden, I took a super long train ride going from Stockholm all the way to Oslo, and this train ride was super fun. I sat beside this guy who is from Oslo, but actually by blood he is Ecuadorian. So that's super cool. You have this Ecuadorian guy who lives in Oslo, and he looks like someone that would kill you. He has like tattoos all over his arm, but turns out he works in the maximum security prison in Norway, which was super cool. So he would tell me stories on what would happen in this prison. I really got along with this guy, and we spent hours on hours just chatting with each other. And he was such an interesting fellow because he also lives in Japan, and he can speak some Japanese, he can speak some Norwegian, he can speak Spanish, he can speak perfect English. So this guy was definitely an interesting fellow. Before long, we arrived in Oslo, and you know, Norway is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive country in the world. So in order for me to save money, I used some of my best Western points to get one free night stay in Oslo, which turned out to be an awesome decision because it came with free breakfast. I was nearing the end of my trip at this point, and my savings was starting to go really low. So for food in Scandinavia, what I did was when I was in Sweden, I cooked this massive batch of pasta, and the hostel actually supplied me with containers, and I just put them in containers. And for the next few days when I was in Sweden, Norway, and Finland, I just ate this pasta, which is absolutely hilarious. I still remember how I cooked that pasta too. When I was in the hotel in Oslo, I put the pasta in a glass, and then I put the glass inside the place where you would heat up hot water, and I just boiled the hot water, and that's how I cooked the pasta, which is pretty sad if you think about it. Anyways, that's my experience in Scandinavia, and overall, it's just not my favorite place in the world. However, I will go back to Norway one day because I want to go to Svendborg, and that's really the place where I want to see in Norway. So someday in the future, I will go back to Norway for sure. Anyways, that's about it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments below. And don't forget to sign up to the Travel and Live Free newsletter, where you can get a 10-step cheat sheet on how to travel around the world. You'll also get the latest tips and strategies on how to save money on travel for Canadians, how to go on a around the world adventure travel for Canadians, and how to use travel to get more freedom in your life as a Canadian. You can sign up for the newsletter in the description below. Until next time, I'll see you then.